And I'm just never gonna get tired of this leaf shape. I picked these eyes because they look the most stern, so I'm hoping they're supposed to be keeping me on task, which is a lot to ask. Hi, I'm Michaela and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing my January 2023 plant favorites list. I did not do one for December because I was taking a little break and I couldn't decide if I should just do December or if I should do the whole year. So I just did neither. So we're back at it and I'm gonna show you first the ones that are in my house and then we'll go out to the greenhouse. Or maybe I'll just like get some footage while I talk about it, to play while I talk about it. I think that's what I'll do, yeah. Okay, so the first plant that is my favorite for this month inside the house is my, this is a plant I've been struggling with. I've never really been able to make it look good, but it has turned the corner finally. And that is my Philodendron glorious. And it has turned the corner in that finally got a new leaf, and this just unfurled like overnight last night. And then we've got another one here too. And yeah, it's unfurling kind of slowly, but unfurling nonetheless. And yeah, so I've taken some cuttings of this plant and one cutting made it, I don't know what it is. I probably should try putting it in the greenhouse or in a cabinet. I think it's just living in regular room humidity is not what this plant wants out of life. But I am happy to see that it has started growing and the leaf came out not the best, but it did emerge without rotting away. So that's a step in the right direction for that plant. Okay, so my next favorite is one that I couldn't get to grow for a long time. I have moved it around. It used to be one of the best growers I had, and then suddenly just kind of quit growing, and then just as suddenly started growing again. And I meant to repot it, but I haven't gotten around to it, so I really should do that. But that is my Hoya polyneura. And I'm just never gonna get tired of this leaf shape. It looks like a fish tail. It's just so cool. And it looks like one of them didn't quite make it, but that's fine. This I did find tangled up in another plant, so that's why this looks like that. But I'm just so happy this has started growing again, and I kind of forgot how much I love this plant. And I'm not gonna cut it up for a while, I'm just gonna leave it, because you can see I've cut this plant up a lot. So I'm just gonna leave it. I do need to repot it, but I just love how it looks trailing. I know this was like the it plant a few years ago, and now people are getting into the variegated versions of it, but I am still just, this leaf shape is so cool. I would like to find one of the ones with the white edges. I can't think of the actual name right now. I found one on Facebook and I was just a little bit too slow with saying sold. I'm just not on it with the Facebook purges anymore. I used to be, and I snagged some pretty cool plants that way. But I just I don't know, I can't keep myself interested enough to go and look through and keep looking at those purges, because that is time consuming. So that's not for me anymore, I don't think. Maybe every once in a while I'll try, but yeah, missed out on that one. And it was a good price too. Okay, my next one is another plant that has not grown for a while and then suddenly started growing again for me. And that is my Philodendron El Chaco Red. The cool thing about this one is I think when I rearranged last fall and I put things closer to the window and had kind of fewer plants around here, I think that helped them, and they're just now starting to grow better for me. When did I do that? I did it in a video, but I don't remember when. But this hadn't grown for almost a year, so I'm so happy to see this leaf. It looks like it's gonna be a little bit smaller, but that's okay. And get my holes and stuff out of the way, hopefully. The back of the leaf is really what is so cool about this plant, and it's washing it out on camera, but it's like a nice red pink color. So I'm so happy this plant is growing again. I took a cutting of it a while back and then it just kind of quit growing, and I was really nervous that it just wasn't going to grow again. So I'm so happy that it is, and I'm just gonna keep these two in their little spot right below the window. And I think that part of the reason it's starting to grow better is the angle of the sun in the winter. They're right in front of a south window with a porch over it, so it doesn't get a ton of light. There are a couple of grow lights on either side that they get some light from, but I think the angle of the sun is getting them a little bit more light and helping them grow. So I think that is what I can attribute their success to. But, well, I feel like these like velvety kind of philodendrons just don't grow as well in regular household conditions. Like, they would do so much better in a greenhouse, like one of my IKEA cabinets or my big greenhouse, but I don't propagate them as much, so I just want to look at them for my own purposes. So I just need to realize that part of that is going to be slower growth, but I'm really happy to see this growth in January, no less. Like, if it were summer, I would be happy, but it's the middle of winter and they're growing, so I'm so happy with that. Okay, so another one, I don't know if you've noticed, but my favorites are always like the ones that struggled and then came back from it. And once they come back from it, I'm always just so happy to see that. It just means a little bit more to get a new leaf on a plant that was struggling rather than one that never gives you any trouble. Although those plants are great too, but this is I thought this was a Philodendron Mame, but I could be wrong. I have 3 or 4 really similar, I'm trying to show you the petiole here, really similar plants that I think might be like a Ploumanii or Ploumanii af. I don't know. This used to be a Philodendron Mame, and well, I guess it still would be if it used to be. But anyway, I had several of those. None of them did well ever. And this was just kind of a stump, and I finally have gotten it to grow, and I'm going to just keep this one for myself. I won't be selling any of these. I used to try and sell them, but I just struggled with them so much that I didn't feel great about the plants that I was trying to sell. So this I'm gonna keep and just hopefully try to get the leaves a little bit bigger. But let me know if you think this is a Mame or a Ploumanii. I'm not really sure. I had the little jar that I had it in labeled as Mame, but it didn't have any leaves or anything on it, so I could be mistaken. And you know how that goes. Sometimes sellers don't always label things the way you would hope. But whatever it is, I'm so happy to see it growing. I think it's such a pretty color and pattern on that leaf. I just love it. It's like a lighter green with pink edges and some silver splashing. I'm really excited about this plant. Okay, the last thing I have inside my house that is a favorite this month, and if you watched my last video, which was a plant tours video, you would have seen these, and it is my magnetic plant eyes. This is the pair that I saved for Gary, and I put these on in my last video and I had so much fun, and I'm continuing to have so much fun just looking at the eyes on my plants. It makes it less weird when I talk to them too. So if that's something you're looking for, check them out. These are from Plant Good Vibes. Is it focused? .com. I hope that's focused. And I will have these linked in the description. I have one I can get to right here. And I've saved one pair for Gary. That's the pair. I have some on like a pair of leaves. I'll just show you. So I have these on my Philodendron Esmeraldense. These ones, I just have these 2 leaves that I had to sacrifice taking a cutting of my variegated giganteum. It's just, there's like no internodal spacing on that plant, so it's hard to get a cutting without having to cut off some leaves. So that's just what I did, and I keep these 2 on my desk like a little bouquet of flowers that will hopefully last longer. And I picked these eyes because they look the most stern and they're looking at my computer. So I'm hoping they're supposed to be keeping me on task, which is a lot to ask for anyone, especially a plant with magnetic eyes on it. So that's why I've chosen these. It wasn't just random, it never is with me. But these do look fairly stern, so supposed to keep me on task. I can't really say how well it's working yet because I can't stay focused long enough to be able to tell, but you know, that's just how it goes. And even if it's not keeping me on task, I definitely enjoy seeing the little eyes. It really just, it makes me happy, so. And then here is another set I put on one of my anthuriums. I like how it looks startled and a little bit confused. So yeah, these are the plant eyes, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. And yeah, I will link them if you want to get some. I think they're a little bit pricey, but they're so much fun. Okay, so outside in the greenhouse, I do have a handful of favorites out there, and it's really cold today, so I don't want to bring them in, and several of them are too big to bring in. So the first favorite is, of course, Gary the Fiddle Leaf Fig. I've been talking about this plant a lot lately because I took a giant cutting of it, and it took almost exactly a month, and then I saw growth points, and the next day like 20 leaves started popping out. So it is doing so great. It is branching, and I am so happy to see it. And I can't remember if the cutting is rooting or not, but I've been making some reels about this plant, so I'll see if I get the other one done before this video comes out. I'll put it on the screen. If not, I won't, but I'm giving you the update now. I was really nervous to cut it because ficus can be so finicky, especially in the winter, but not Gary. Gary is reliable and trustworthy, so he did great, and I'm so happy. And I'll link my first video about Gary. I should maybe make like an updated video about him, like 1 year later or something. I don't know. But it's been almost a year since I saved him. He had like 3 leaves. He was in rough shape, but Not anymore, he's not. And then my next favorite, I think this one is kind of a frequent favorite for me, and that's my Philodendron Cream Splash. And it just looks a little bit different than a lot of the Cream Splash that I see. And there's just something about it that I love. It's like the orange tint to it, and it gets a lot of variegation, so it looks a lot like a Gabby. It's not a Gabby. I bought it as a nearly reverted rehab cutting in 2020, and it just suddenly started producing really nice variegation. And I sell a lot of these on my Etsy shop. They propagate and grow so well that I just usually have a lot of them for sale if that's something you're looking for. It's a good alternative to a Gabby without the price, but that's not what it is, and I'm not saying that it is that. So I don't really care about like what kind, like the name of the plant. I care about what it looks like to me and if I like it. Like, I'm not about it's almost like the name brand obsession thing that people have. Like, I feel like this plant is very comparable to the name brand. It's definitely an off-brand Gabby, I guess you could say, but I don't know. I'm an off-brand everything type of gal. Just ask my husband. He always complains about me buying the Walmart brand Ziploc bags and paper towels, and yeah, I'm just all about that off-brand life, I guess. I'm just cheap, that's all there is to it. Okay, so the next one is my Philodendron Postazanum. This plant has gotten so big. I can't believe how big the leaves are, and they come out and they're so shiny. And it kind of got hidden in a corner for a bit, so it had a little bit of a pest issue in December. And then I think last fall it had put out this weird looking leaf, and it looked variegated. I don't still have the leaf on it, so I was really nervous that it was mosaic virus. So I kind of just kept it isolated just to see what was going to happen with it. And the next leaves were solid green. They were big and healthy, and the plant keeps growing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it just spat out a variegated leaf one day, so that works for me. And I don't still have that leaf on the plant. When I do a pest treatment, if out in the greenhouse especially, pests are so much harder to manage. So if there's a leaf with a lot of pests on it, I take it off just to minimize the infestation. So I cut off a ton of leaves on that plant, but it came back bigger and better than ever, and really fast too. Like, I don't even remember when that was. It wasn't very long ago though, but you can't even tell. So I am just so happy that that plant is growing well, and it's one of my favorites. I just keep coming back to it. I was just really bummed when I thought it might have a virus, but I really don't think it does. I thought about getting a test for it, but it's not continuing to exhibit symptoms of that, nor are any plants that were around it. So I think it was just a funky variegated leaf. So, but of course I'm gonna keep an eye on it and see what it does. But I think if it were afflicted by a virus, I don't think that it would be growing quite as voraciously as it does. Okay, and my next favorite is my Philodendron Majestic, and I think I like this one just because of the place that I have it set up right now in the greenhouse. So in the afternoon, the evening light hits it in just a really nice way, so the color is just very vibrant. And I'm a big fan of Philodendron Majestic always, but especially this one. Like, the color is just, it seems more saturated than it did in the house. So I really like that one out there, and I really should probably move some of my other velvety philodendrons out there to get that nice color and enjoy the benefits of the humidity. But I guess I'm just gonna keep them in the house with me, so yeah. But those are my January 2023 favorites. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Queen City Tropicals, and I will see you again soon.